All right, welcome to our March meeting for our TA Leaders Forum. Good group here. See some new faces, not new, but some people that have joined us that haven't joined us probably in the last several months. So, welcome to you all that are coming in and joining. Obviously, some big news that has happened since February with the governor's order to reopen schools. So, I think like Sarah was saying before the meeting started that she spent probably most of her spring break scrambling to try and get information pulled together. I know that there were several of you that were probably in the same boat. So anybody just going to kind of open the floor and talk about what transportation has looked like for those of you that weren't transporting prior to spring break. Sarah, you want to start?
Sure. For us, it's one student per seat, which in the urban area is extremely challenging. So we're having to turn doubles and triples out of schools just because there isn't a surplus of drivers and resources to be able to do those runs with different drivers. So it's causing
Even
supervision problems at the school sites, and we're trying to work through it. But it's definitely been challenging. Our district is looking at a filtration system that would be retrofitted on all of our buses that would allow us to go up to 2 to a seat. So that's in the works right now. So hopefully that's something that can be finalized, purchased, and installed prior to August.
Are your students wearing masks, Sarah?
Yes, they're wearing masks. We're sanitizing between runs, between schools, between stops.
So
But our mitigation plan is one per seat. And it's
So
firm.
with the mitigation plans that come from CDC, AD, and so on and so forth, with you doing at least 2 of the 3, which is masking and the sanitizing, can you discuss with them about letting them sit 2 to a seat at least, or?
We've discussed, and it's a firm no right now with the
Okay.
variants. They're really concerned about the variants, and the Maryville
Okay.
community is still one of the hardest hit areas in the county. So they are committed to one per seat. So the
Family members are sitting together though, right? Family
I'm-
members are still allowed to sit together?
Nope.
Really? Even though
They're in the same
cohorted at home?
household.
They're in the same household, but when you do that, they're close to the child behind them and child in front of them. So we're running a zigzag pattern down each side to keep that distance. And
But with your seat height, isn't that a barrier? Because we were told the seat height was considered a barrier, so we didn't have to do the every other seat. We could put them right next to each other, right behind each other in the seats.
they are right behind each other in the seats,
Okay.
but they're offset on a zigzag pattern.
Okay.
Like window aisle, window aisle.
Yeah.
So you're
Okay.
running like 12 kids per bus.
12 to 14.
20, yeah, it's 28 on an 84 passenger, one per seat.
Wow.
So yeah.
Wow.
They're doing a bus application. They have to be assigned, they have to fit on the run. And then when the run is full at 28, we have to do the double and schedule those kids. So it's been a big learning experience and definitely a giant puzzle to solve. But I'm hoping, with hopefully the superintendent will approve the filtration system expense under ESSER funds, and we'll get the go ahead for a 2 per seat.
How are your drivers? Are they positive?
They're positive, but they're really tired. It's a lot. And
It is.
most of them, they have 2 schools. So when you do 2 schools 3-4 times, they're tired. So
Any pushback from anyone else's drivers about the rescinding of some of the executive orders yesterday about the masks? I know most schools have put out the whole ADE thing with, we're still going to push it and all that, but anyone getting drivers or parents pushing back on you about my kid's not going to wear a mask anymore?
No, but I did have some curiosity late yesterday. So does that mean we don't have to wear these masks now? Does that mean, or now that I'm vaccinated, do I, so more curiosity than grumpiness at this point.
Thanks, Sarah, for sharing. Do anybody else want to chime in on what their process back to schools look like?
Jason, we got a comment down there.
Yeah, I see Kim Spino says we have been 2 to a seat with the exception of families, and there can be 3 small students, no empty seats. I also saw one from Karma saying that they've been consistently 2 to a seat with no empty seats. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's the thing, Sarah. Like, I understand that, your leadership is making that choice, but I think that was one of the things that we're all trying to come together at the beginning of all of this, was that if we can kind of have a united front. I know that Phoenix Elementary has adopted a very similar process to what you guys are doing, and I understand that Maryville and downtown has all been kind of the hot spot, so to speak. So, we feel for you, but definitely if you can encourage them to potentially watch some of these videos on what other districts are doing and whatnot, it might help, kind of get that relief to teachers and schools, and get your bus drivers not having to hustle as hard. So, I would imagine that putting that kind of strain on people, at some point they're gonna crack, and they're gonna be like, this ain't worth it to me, and I'm gonna, take off, go work somewhere else.
Yeah,
So,
where's the place in the middle that's right for everyone, right?
Well,
And I've been using you guys as models in terms of like, our surrounding communities are doing, 2 to a seat, and the pushback again is the percent positivity in our zip codes.
Sure.
So, hoping that continues to decline, but it's
Avery shared the link in the chats for
Yes,
the
I saw
latest
that.
that one, and then we shared one also, I think last time we met also. So, and whatever we can do to help you, I mean.
Yeah, I think that's the same link that you shared, Tommy, and that's
Okay.
what we used with our district's leadership that allowed us, because prior to communicating that with them and telling what other districts were doing, we were 1 kid to a seat with the 2 front seats empty, 26 to a bus.
Nice.
But with that, we were able to go back to full capacity on our buses with mandatory face masks
good.
for all drivers and students.
Avery, which district?
Agua Fria Union High School.
Okay, thank
Go
you.
Big Red.
and
All right.
I think it'll be interesting, back to the point of the pushback from drivers or families, that, it'll be interesting. Obviously, most districts with the health department and ADE are saying that it's all still part of the mitigation requirements to the end of the year. But what does next year look like? And I would guess that if it continues, that we still have to wear a mask, that there's going to be some drivers that are just like, I'm tired of it, and I don't want to do it anymore, and they're going to leave. So, there's going to be potential impacts to staffing just because people don't want to deal with it anymore. And, if they're being given free reign or can go find employment elsewhere that's not requiring it, then
And
we
very
may be in
close
a lot more
salary
world of
too.
hurt. Yeah.
I think parents are just going to pull kids also. They're just frustrated with it, and the schools are going to keep pushing it. I think parents are just going to pull even more kids than what they've already pulled. We're still down 1,000. So
Yeah, we're all still facing a significant driver shortage currently. Many of us, right? We're down 20-30% of our driving workforce.
So Tommy,
it's like, okay, so what?
Go ahead, Shannon.
I just was saying, so while we want kids to come back, it's like, well, hopefully drivers do also.
Yeah. Tommy, did you see, since you guys have come back, have you seen an increase of ridership from what it was before you guys closed back down before the holidays?
oh my gosh, when we were going September, October, that first week in November, we were averaging maybe 900 kids total K-8 that we were busing all day. I am up to 2,800, and one day we were at 3,300. So parents were like, no, we're putting them on the bus, they're riding.
Mhm.
So I'm about 85% back to where I was last school year when we.
And is that with your extended walk boundary that your board approved?
So we did extend the walk boundary to 2 miles for middle school only, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And we told parents if we could accommodate, we will. And we have been able to.
Oh, good.
But we're also doing, double runs, turnarounds to accommodate everything anyway. So. And our walk boundary will change back to 1 mile for next school year anyway.
And how's your workforce? They're tired, but they're positive.
They're tired, but the staff is pretty positive. They were happy to see their kids back.
Yeah.
They were excited to see all their kiddos, and they're getting tired. And as we come into fourth quarter, as most of you know, there's really not many days off, if any.
The 90 days of May.
And it started in January this year. We don't get Good Friday off. We just have today and then 2 more half days through the rest of the year. So we still got 40 days left of straight going through. They're going to get tired.
Rally your troops, guys,
Yep.
rally.
Anybody else got anything to add to school open?
We were able to switch from routing all of our students by eligibility to actual ridership. We were requiring all of our parents to actually register if they're going to use the bus, which was so helpful. For spring break, once we started getting our numbers in, we were able to optimize our routes and cut out stops that had no students assigned to them and cut down routes to help cover for our 9 positions short. And now I think 2 or 3 drivers that are out on medical.
Are you guys able to do that through Parent View, or do you just create like a Google form for parents?
Well, we use our routing software. We use Edgelog for our routing software, and a year and a half ago we rolled out their parent app, Edgelog Parent Portal, and with that there's a ride registration function that they just rolled out this year with it too. So we've been doing that, and it's actually been working really well. The actual number, the registered numbers in the app. Opposed to the actual numbers on the bus, we had 16 more registered than what were actually riding our bus last week.
So how did you guys?
So it's.
How did you reach out to the group? How did you reach out to like eligible families and say, hey, you're eligible? Did that get communicated from the district and say you need to go here if you want to ride, basically?
Yeah, we had the district and the schools. We made sure that they were behind us before the rollout of the app when I started with the district a year and a half ago. And so we already had that kind of baseline user base in the app of previous riders. So this year it was just mainly capturing all the new freshmen that were new to our district. So a number of email blasts from the schools to all their students, and then I've been pushing out push notifications through the app to all the users that are already assigned to it, and just reminding them that way.
So what if an eligible rider that did not opt to ride through the app shows up at the bus stop?
Oh, we let them on, and our drivers have a little sheet of paper to give to them that tells them about the app and how to download it, and where to go on the school's website, because we got a YouTube video helping them how to register and everything like that. But we made sure that all the schools have it on their website as well as on the district page for the website.
Is your YouTube video searchable, or can you post the link to it in the chat box?
It is not searchable, but I can get you the link.
All right. Thank you. That's very helpful information, because we've been fighting here. We want to make registration for the bus part of the every year registration process so that we can isolate that. Just because when you figure our district, we've got usually around 16,000 students. About 7,000 of those are eligible riders, and we typically only transport about 5,000. So I want to isolate 2,000 of those kids out, based on that, and then we can go from go from that. So we first rolled it out with the hybrid, and we had some decent success with the hybrid schedule with the mandatory registration to figure out who we would have, and then we got the go ahead from the district to go ahead and just make it a part of our regular thing now. And moving forward, we're also using CARES Act money. We're going to try and use CARES Act money to fund it, to pay for it for the next 4 or 5 years.
Nice.
So we just have it front loaded, paid for, and it's just there and we're using it.
Nice.
Got a few questions in the chat box or comments talking about Gators. So yeah, the neck Gators back, man, I want to say that was August or September. They basically said that they couldn't wear them or whatnot. And I think it had to do with the material was too thin. There were several news articles and whatnot about just, the best type of mask to wear. And so they had done quite a bit of research on that. So our district said that we couldn't wear Gators unless they were double lined. Some of it, we still see some of our facilities guys that are wearing them, but they're not obviously around, like the lawn guys or the, grounds. They might be wearing them, but they're out and about anyways. So, so our drivers continue wearing N95 masks. It's nice that your district or that your company is providing them. They're not being provided here, and everybody honestly has to provide their own. So, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of language that, it was just, yeah, kind of all the vented masks that everybody went out and bought and then had to go away because they couldn't wear those either. So a lot of language, and now the double masking, right? We've seen, it's not a requirement, but we've seen a lot of people doing double masks also.
Yeah, our drivers requested them, and our district decided to provide them, so.
Sean, what's going on up north?
He's trying to stay out of the snow.
Scared me there. You don't ever call on me.
Well, I give an open floor, you can just chime in.
You guys are covering it, man. We've been going since September, so we're 2 to a seat. Wearing masks, the same thing that everybody else is doing. We got another school that's opening on Monday on the reservation. So down a few drivers, doubling up routes, and then we're pulling in about 3/4 of our kids. So it gets more every day. Kids are getting tired of staying home. Parents are getting tired of them staying home. So every single day we get 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 more riders. So
Yeah, there was an article this week that came out that I guess Navajo Nation said like for 2 or 3 days in a row, they had no new positive cases or deaths whatsoever.
yeah,
So has
that's
that
right.
pushed them to open up your schools on that are
Well,
on the reservation?
they're on the Navajo Nation. They're wanting to stay virtual, but some of the schools are going to start going back on Monday. There's some guys that are on this webinar right now that are from the Navajo Nation that could probably answer that better than me. Most of our kids, 70% of them come from the Navajo Nation. So we've been hauling them to school since September. So we've been running buses up there. Like I said, that, and then we have our computer bus that goes up there and every day and takes kids come in, and there's Wi-Fi on it and stuff. So we've been doing all we can to help these kids out. They don't have Wi-Fi, so most of them don't. So we put over 100 hotspots up out there, and plus we have our computer bus that has 4 different hotspots on it, depending on what area of the reservation we're on, and the kids come to it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Davis and Joey are both on here. If you guys, either of you want to chime in, I don't want to put you on the spot, but be great to hear for the recording, what's going on up there and how you guys are working back to school. If they're there.
All right. Hello, Jason.
How's it going?
Good. How's it? Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
My name's
Hi.
Davis Begay, Transportation Supervisor for Granada Unified School District out in the reservation. Our area here is we're still online. Our school is not open yet. Our Navajo Nation president from Jonathan Naz and his vice president is still debating to reopen the school back up. We have a team here in our district right now to come up with a mitigation plan and how we're going to reopen our school back up. But for now, it's just going to be this for students that are struggling learning, because we have a lot of rural area out there where there's no service for students as far as internet. And we don't have internet on our school buses. We tried several times, and our cellular one here wasn't really supporting that. So it was ups and downs as far as the I guess trying to work with the vendor that they were supposed to work with, but that didn't work. So we just kind of did away with it. So, but as far as the mask, we're still wearing masks here every day. And the only thing we're doing right now is just the food delivery. We only running like 9 buses a day. So we do have some standby buses that we utilize them also. So right now there's I guess they had another, they just have meetings, their own meeting with the Navajo Nation side. So so right now, like I said, there's no when the school is going to reopen. As far as we have testing that was supposed to be happening on the 24th, so that was postponed. So right now we're not doing any testing, but we do have some the buses that we have on our lot here. We already put the social distance signs on it. The drivers did. Again, just like 12 students, 13 students on the bus right now, and we're not. We haven't followed the three distant social distance right now. We're still on the 6 feet distance. So that's the update we have here. So we have people. My transportation, we only had a limit of people in the building right now. The rest are all outside, checking their buses, and also either they're working other departments. It's an update.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Davis. That was pretty insightful. And I think if anybody didn't catch that, there's two things I want to segue into. One being that CDC just came out recently and said that the physical distancing is now gone from 6 feet down to 3 feet. So that is an update. And also obviously segueing perfectly into AZ merit testing or state testing that is right around the corner. I know Eric brought this up last meeting, and so definitely wanted to talk about that. Maybe give Eric the floor about what your plans are for getting students, or are you guys going to do different type of runs, or are they going to just tell parents to drive, or what does that look like? Make sure you're on, unmute yourself. We just talked about this, man. Come on.
Dude, I clicked it didn't work. Hey, as Tommy would say, I'm the old guy in the group. Thanks, Tommy. No, in all honesty, I want to be careful what I say publicly here. We absolutely have full test runs in the middle of the day through April by grade level, multiple buses all over the district, multiple tiers of it all over the district, almost every available moment in between runs to offer transportation in for testing. And I will tell you, academic services actually did a pretty nice job of developing a schedule for testing for those who are at home. Because as we know, all we're talking about is bringing those that are online in for in-person testing. And, you know, I was a little nervous. But lead times to register for that transportation were very, very minimal, very minimal. I don't know how many we're actually going to be moving, but we are going to spend a ton of hours and time rolling around the district and probably move very, very few students.
So Eric, are you is it going to be anybody who is eligible? I mean, it's not going to be a sign up, so you don't know exactly who you're picking up where.
The academic services convinced the superintendent that there was no need for a sign up. So we literally are going to make those stops regardless. And I think it will be fruitless. Wait a minute, in case anybody from my district watches, I think it's wonderful that we're offering this opportunity, and I'm so glad to be a part of it, because children need to learn. But I'm just saying the way it was, yeah, so there was no registration. And what I will note is this, and I hope some of you speak on it, is so even later than that, our special ed team decided that it would only be fair to make that opportunity available to our curb by curb students that are also at home, who elected to be taught at home. With the apps, I got no notice on that. I just saw an email go out and I said, hey, whoa. And we actually have had, now consider this though, at least those they had to register. And as of right now, as of this moment, I think we have 2 students who have elected to be picked up and brought in for the week of testing, of their week of testing. So what they told the parents basically is even if you only test 1-2 days that week on special ed, you had to do a whole week. And you had to give at least 5 days notice, because that's our rule on special ed. So with minimal communication, the special ed department found a way to make it available to our SPED community. And I am so glad and I'm happy that we're offering that service for our children, because education is important and it's fruitful. So yeah, we have had 2 so far on our curb to curbside sign up for a week of transportation that we added into the regular route. So all those other kids will be adjusted for 1 week, their times and inconvenience their parents. And I'm sure they're pleased to do it because education is so important.
It's interesting that you guys are choosing to do middle of the day transportation. Our district, we managed to talk through it with our team here, and we're going to provide, we're just going to keep our runs the same way. I've been able to isolate all of our flex student riders. I've added them all back to the bus and going to send information out to families tonight. They're going to get an email that's going to say, this is your new bus information for this year. You're only eligible to use this on your students' testing dates. Our schools do different grade levels. They kind of create their own schedule. Each school creates their own individual schedule. So we are going to give them that information along with drivers. We'll get a roster of those students by grade level. So they'll be able to see, okay, today's, 2nd grade at Cerritos or 3rd grade at Cerritos, because we're not testing kinder 1st or 2nd. So I was able to take all those kids out, get them back on the bus. We don't have to worry about midday information. I haven't heard as far as flex learners for our special needs families, but our McKinney-Vento students that are in flex learning, they want to provide transportation for. So we have a contract budget with third-party transportation, and rather than adding them back to our routes, I'm just gonna set up contracted transportation for those couple of days to transport them to where they need to go for the days that they need to test. So that's kind of the way that we're doing it. And schools were all, originally everybody was like, well, testing's only 2 hours, so we just want to get them here and get them out. But the schools are going to make plans for them to stay all day so that they can use transportation in and then take it home at the end of the day. So that means the cafeteria's got a plan for additional students. They didn't also create a sign-up list of anything like that. So schools are kind of scrambling because they don't know how many parents are going to elect in to bring their students or have them ride the bus, or decide to opt out and keep them home. That's what we're doing at Kyrene.
I guess we're lucky here at Littleton because we're only going 4 days a week. So we're going to bring our students in on Wednesdays by grade level to test them. And also we are doing food deliveries to all our distant learning kids on Wednesdays also. So it really doesn't affect us as much, but yeah. So on Wednesdays, we provide them a 7-day meal pack for all of our distant learning kids, and then we're going to bring them in by grade levels for their testing dates.
Well, I just so you know, Jason, I love what you guys did with that. And I think that probably sounds like, and you too as well, Thelma. My thing is that we are actually trying not to bring these kids back into the environment that the parents were avoiding by being online. So they wanted to be totally separate. And then I think we may even have like one of those hazmat tunnels into a separate entrance and bring them over. I don't know what they're, seriously, now listen, awful considerate, but they were saying that they didn't think it would be right to put them onto the bus that the people were avoiding in the first place. So there will be second set bus, lighter population, lighter capacity. And so, I mean, though I think you guys have a much better plan and more efficient, I think we care more. That's what it is. We're caring.
There you have it.
I think
Yeah,
it makes
so-
sense, you know, and I think that's, everybody has different levels of care, right? And when you want to talk about, Armando's in here now, he can talk about what Phoenix L is doing, but you look at what Cartwright and Phoenix L are doing by trying to really limit how many kids are on a bus. I mean, that's just the fact of where we're at with,
Right,
you know, what the community is, what we decided, what everybody was comfortable with, and their interpretation of CDC guidelines, mitigation strategies, and everything, right? So, you know, some people want to really take it, you know, verbatim and you know, follow it to the letter. That's their prerogative, right? I mean, that's the unfortunate side of leadership. However, it would be really nice. This is where I get on my soapbox and we talk about ADE or the state or whoever it is that needs to step up and really give us, even though it doesn't fit or work, a one size fits all model for all of us to follow. Then we're all doing the same thing and we're not left to fend for ourselves, right? I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
It basically came down to no one had any idea of what to do, and we're just kind of making it up as we go per district. I'm very lucky that mine said, we don't have supervision for them on campus all day, so we're just gonna tell parents to bring and pick them up after 2 hours, so.
And some districts will, you know, be able to get away with that. But what about the students that are at home that don't have transportation? I mean, they just don't get to participate?
It's a student by student case basis from the principal and I working together. And so far, I've got 0.
And it's not required this year. That's right. Is that correct? If they don't want to come in and test, well, I think you can never make them, but if they don't want to come in and test, they don't have to.
It's not required, but it goes towards your percentage of your population that you tested or something like that. Like you have to at a minimum 60% tested or something. I mean, that's the academic side.
Weren't the academic grades that we get for testing going to be not counted or something this year? I feel like.
You know, I think that, you know, what my understanding is, yeah, that they say that it doesn't count, but they're going to record all of it.
Oh.
So I think if you were an academic leader, you're kind of afraid to be the low man on the totem pole, regardless of whether it counted. You know, I mean, and honestly, I think that's what, I don't think anybody knows. And that's one thing I'm very thankful to this group because, again, trying to form some sort of sensible answer in these times is, you know, leaning on all of you guys has been probably the most comforting thing, you know, of all in all this, because, you know, when you sit at the table with academics, it's just like, well, we have to offer this, make it happen, and not realizing where our staffing is. And then when you have overtime created by that, well, geez, Eric, why are you mismanaging your team?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I don't know what I'm doing. Honestly, I don't. I mean, I just hang out here. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And for
but yeah,
testing,
so I think you're right, though.
Testing, isn't it? And I can't remember because I've been out of the classroom for so long. It's 3rd, 5th, 8th, 10th, and 12th are the ones that are required to test or something like that, as close to required as they can. So is it just those grade levels that you're going to be bringing in? It's not 2nd grade. It's not 4th or 6th grade.
I think it's 3rd through 8th for us, all of them.
All. Okay.
I want to say I saw 2nd grade in there for something because there's different tests too. And I want to say you might be right. You're probably right, Tommy. Who am I to question Tommy? But I'm saying I thought I saw 2nd grade in there somewhere. I for some reason I could click a couple buttons and look at the schedule, but then I will be ill on a Friday and I'd rather. So I'll just say, yeah, 3rd through 8th sounds great.
It's early release. It's early release, Eric. It's okay. You can be
not
ill
here. It
about
ain't
3
early
o'clock.
release. Not here.
Anybody started making plans for summer school planning?
Yeah, we've actually extended, basically, might as well call it an extension of the school year. Every school this year, we normally do summer school out of one site and bus to that one site, you know, the minimal amount of kids from each school. This year, all of our sites, except for the one getting a new roof, they're getting a new roof this summer, so we're busing those kids to another site. But all sites are running. The wonderful thing, and I am very thankful the district agreed to, was we're going to maintain our 3 tiers.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure that I can get all my drivers. They were very kind when I surveyed them, but I'm not sure they're all going to want to work every day in June. But you know, it is put out there. We do have 3 tiers, and we're getting a a varied level of support from the principals. So we're maintaining our tiers just a 5-hour day each day instead of 7 or whatever it is. It's 5 hours.
Yeah, we usually do 2 campuses. They're offering at all 17 schools this year, but what we have started talking about is doing regional locations. So I'll have an east side school doing all those that are K-8, a middle of our district, and then west side. And then they have said they will run it on a tier. So it's a 3 tiers, so I can do first, second, and third. But they're basically planning on it from that first Monday in June through the entire month of June, but they're now talking extending into July using ESSER funds for that. So I haven't finalized anything yet, but that's what all of our schools are going to offer as well.
Wow, 12 months.
12-month contracts? What are they going to do
323.
during the summer?
They're gonna run summer school Monday through Thursday. Fridays, our district is closed, so they wanted to ensure that we had staff to meet the needs. So we're gonna finish the school year. Our bus drivers are a 10-month, and our van drivers are 9, and our bus monitors are 9. They're all gonna get a gap contract to complete June. And then starting July 1, it's a 12-month contract for next school year and the following school year. So that
Wow.
will ensure transportation for summer school.
That's awesome for you, but we're all going to lose drivers to you now because
Yeah.
drivers will have 12 months. So thanks a lot, Sarah.
There's a bright spot. Yeah.
Sorry, they were telling me like, we're gonna have to, they say that horrible word, contract bus drivers. And I'm like, I don't want to work with contracted bus drivers. I like mine. This was our proposal to resolve the problem. I mean, we've got ESSER funds coming out of the wazoo. Put it where it needs to be.
Yes, exactly. Behind the wheel.
Reward
Some
our
of it.
people for all the work that goes on behind the scenes that nobody appreciates. So, this is the first time they'll have access to earning vacation days. And when their 12-month contracts are done, they have those to either, if they haven't used them, they'll pay them out. So
Wow.
it's a big deal for, that piece. I mean, some of them already have summer plans. So I am getting a handful of requests that, hey, I had this trip planned, and, HR is going to work with me and those employees because this was something that was just decided at our last board meeting.
So does summer school go June and July for you guys?
Yep.
Every year, even pre-COVID was always
Pre-COVID, it was 3 weeks in June, and then the 2 weeks before the start of the school year, we did a kinder jump start at all of our sites. But we did 3 weeks in June. So now with the ESSER funds, I mean, there's money like crazy. So they're going to run summer school this summer, June 1st to July 30, whatever that last Friday or Thursday is. And then again, next school year as well. So
Wow.
they've committed to 2 full years of summer school. So the 12-month contract was the thing that made sense in terms of ensuring that we had staff here to.
It's a huge retention for sure.
Well, you hope.
Yes.
I'm curious to how that'll work out, because how many drivers like having the summers off and, travel or do whatever. Like, did you guys talk about or think about offering half and half, or 3/4 and a quarter of, these are only 180 day contracts for those that want them, and then full time for those that want them, versus a one size fits all model?
Yeah, it was all or nothing. And, it includes the office staff because obviously we have to run dispatch while we're doing summer school. So, I mean, it's the entire department. So it's something new. I would say the majority of them are okay with it because as most of you are suffering, we can't, overtime is, no overtime, no overtime, no overtime, no more than 40 hours a week or whatever their time is. So this is a way for them to kind of make up for that time that they've lost this whole year where they couldn't run field trips, they couldn't do sports. So, you know, I think a lot of it was how it was presented. I mean, this is your opportunity to make up some of that income.
And sometimes that is what it takes, is how we deliver it.
Armando, you got anything?
Well, just so everybody knows, I'm short drivers now, so.
Welcome to the club.
All the years that I was
Hey.
never short. And they won't let me hire, they tell me we're on a freeze. But we only had, our buses aren't full and we're doing the limited spacing. So we're running probably about, I think some of our larger routes are doing like 15 or 16 kids. We didn't have very many come back. About less than half of our students came back in the district. So we did lose about 2,000 kids. So only, they're saying about 1,900 came back for in-school learning. So we are managing. It was kind of rough getting everybody set up because, you know, just like everybody else, we only had like four or 5 days to get everything done. And we had some students that didn't start on the 17th when we came back, but Ryan was able to get everything done over the weekend and all kids were routed by Monday, the 22nd. So, but as far as the testing program, our cabinet is reviewing the CDC guidelines that are saying that now they've lowered the distancing to about 3 feet. So they're gonna make a decision on whether we can increase our capacity on the bus and bring it back down to 3 feet apart. If they do that, then we can probably double the number of kids and then we will be able to accommodate all the testing kids that will be coming in. And they've told us it's 3rd through 8th grade and they're all going to be coming in at different times through the next couple of weeks or so. But that's where we stand. Oh, yeah. We're just having fun here, living day to day. As Jason says, living the dream.
Yeah,
That's
I think it's just nice to get back to feeling normal again, right? Even though it's not, it's just, you
We
know,
love the organized chaos.
yeah, just
And
feeling
on top of it, last night we get a call that we had a massive COVID outbreak with a student that was positive at one of our schools. So it affected 15 students and 4 staff members here in our department. So just to throw things, you know, into the fire.
All right, we've got about 10 minutes left. So anybody got anything open discussion or topics that you want to talk about in April?
We're all like, April.
We've talked enough this year.
Seems so far away, right? Keeping the pace, hiring strategies, how are we going to be creative with that?
Oh.
Because I think as it's a successful return for families, more kids are coming back. So re-expanding those routes is going to be ability. Maybe not this year, but for sure for the start of school, I think.
I have a question. Oh, sorry, Eric.
That's all right. I would just like to throw out there, I know we talk about driver. I've had a rash of associates leave, you know, the bus aides. We're probably about 35 cents off of minimum wage there. You work, you know, 10, 11 hours to get your 6, 7 hours. And they've, you know, one left and like went, look, go flip burgers for minimum wage for a straight 7 or 8 hours and go home. So I had a little rash of associates leaving. We never talk about associates here, but it does affect your staffing and rolling any extra driver or support staff onto a bus. I don't know if we need to talk about that, but is anybody putting any greater value since minimum wages went up on their associate position? So if we could just kind of, I mean, I don't even know if that's a topic for discussion, but I know it's driving me nuts.
I think it is. And I think that anything in general is, I was actually texting Stephanie Arbaugh the other day and just saying, like, I think there's value in this type of meeting, and everybody from some point of leadership or whatnot. And I don't know, it seems like superintendents or school administrators aren't really willing to champion the transportation side, right? And I think that we need to figure out how to get in front of, whether it's a state superintendent or some sort of deputy at the ADE level or something, that we can have conversations. Because right now, the last couple of years, the focus has been on teachers, and it always will be, right? How underpaid they are. But realistically, when you're asking for support staff to be paid for, like, to your point, Eric, 6 hours, they got to work a 12-hour day to get 6 hours worth of work. It's not a conducive schedule for anybody's well-being, and yet they can go make the same wages or more at Target. They get paid $17 an hour, yet here's a position for a driver, not necessarily a monitor, but a driver's got to keep up with 7 or 8 certifications, both at the state and federal level. They have to keep up on their health, because if they high cholesterol or high heart rate, whatever, they can't be a bus driver. They get put on a 6-month, health check every 6 months. So, somebody's got to hear us out at some point. And, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, or the person who beats the drum the loudest. I just don't know how we can get this group or a group of us to, invite somebody like that to a meeting that will start to hear and champion us. I think whether it's a legislator or, we've got all these people that want to write legislative code about bus drivers, yet not do any of them have a conversation with us? No. I've never had a conversation with them about what they should or shouldn't do.
It's funny that Eric brings that up, because my business manager, or executive director of business services, just sat down with us last week talking about next year's budgeting. And she goes, "You're really heavy on monitors for all your special needs routes, and we're going to need to knock that down with all the districts around us." I'm like, "Yeah, I have 28 special needs routes. I need 28 monitors."
And they have an intentional role. That's critical.
And she goes, "Well, we just need to put them on the buses where we have students that are ambulatory." I'm like, "Our parents are not going to go for that. They already get upset if I have to call them and tell them that, hey, we're short an aid today. There's not going to be a monitor on the bus. Do you want to transport?" So, I mean, Eric, you make a very good point, because they're just as instrumental in our everyday operation as the drivers are.
For sure.
And yes, they don't need the special certification, the DPS number, the CDL, but we all know we're putting 6, 7, 8, sometimes 9 students with an IEP on a bus, and that extra person sitting there is trying to, corral those 9 and meet their
and you
needs
think
individually.
about,
We're not going to be able to, it's not going to be a successful ride for them. It's just a driver not paying
Right.
attention to those needs.
it's the success on the bus, and heaven forbid an evacuation is needed, right? That relationship that's built, and the ability to have 2 people to help to do that safely.
Well, and you can't build routes based on who needs a monitor and who doesn't.
Correct.
Either.
You
So,
would have
I mean,
buses all over the place. There'd never be efficiency ever again.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, they're going, "Why are you spending so much money on needing more buses?" When
You'd just be moving the cost from one place to another.
it's exactly all you're doing. And we're trying our best to, create those areas for our programs in our district. If, we have this program on the west side and the east side, so we're not cross busing everyone. We're all having that same issue. Oh, there's room over here. Let's put this program here. But 85% of the kids come from 14 miles away on the other side of the district.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you said that, Tommy, because I can tell you, be careful with that east to west, north to south thing. We had a program in my prior school district, for the IEP preschool. Avery knows this very well. We were together at the other school district.
Right.
So we put together this program. We beg off to split the program. We go to split the program. We use the natural divide, the railroad tracks down Grand to split our school district. I won't mention which one. And we put it there. Meanwhile, we find out when we go to plot the students and start routing, like 85% of our IEP preschool students came from within 1.5 miles of each other in the southwest corner, what would be the west side of the tracks of the district. Oh my God, careful what you wish for. I mean, I asked to divide the district, and then I didn't look where the kids were. I just figured they come from everywhere, right? I mean, dude, there has to be a bad well over there just north of, north of Maryville. There has to be a bad well of water. I'm telling you, I was so shocked. So the only thing I'm saying is, yeah, you have to divide your programs, but
Well, and
before you go
oftentimes
begging
you
for
don't get
that,
to, they won't.
before
let
you
do
beg for that boundary, look at where they're coming from, because we had to change that. And then we did divide them and made some sense,
Yeah.
but
Well,
holy smokes.
I'm at my preschool, every campus, elementary campus has special need preschool because our preschool comes from everywhere. But when we look at our, our autism program for elementary and middle, right now the bulk is all coming from this side, but the program's only on the west side.
Yeah,
Out of
we
30.
have a very similar setup and
Yeah.
very similar demographic to Tommy.
Yeah.
Having the same thing, like our specialty programs are on one side, way over on the west side of our district, yet we're bringing all these kids. Like, okay, so if you have literally 50 kids that we're moving from one side of the district over to the other, why wouldn't you spin up a program and move a couple teachers to the other side?
Or bring them closer to the middle, so you're
Right.
you're shortening that distance of ride time for
Their
these
ride
kiddos,
time is an
because
hour and a half sometimes.
that's huge. That's
Yeah.
huge. Their day
Right,
starts when
right.
they're on the bus. You're adding all this extra time. So, but it comes back to monitors, Eric, that they're the ones that we're relying on those special needs routes for those behaviors and that cohesiveness and that easy, I don't want to say easy day, but that comfortable run. And monitors are huge, and they're just kind of put off to the side of, oh, well, we'll give them 10 cents more than what minimum wage is, and oh, let's not give them benefits.
But not only that, step up the safety sensitive nature of their job function, right?
Mhm.
We've had a lot pushed back just in recent years saying, I'm not going to work with a kid with a trach or a kid with a, seizure disorder or
feeding
whatever,
tube,
because
yeah.
I don't get paid enough to do that. And so
The
we had
risk.
to create a IA monitor position that was equivalent to what the IAs are at the school level, so that we could have basically a student or a monitor that worked with this student through the duration of their, transportation career. So, I mean, it's very interesting that, they should be paid at what drivers are making right now, and drivers should be paid at, 23 to 25 bucks an hour. Just my opinion.
And they do not like reading in an IEP, it says one-on-one aid, because then it comes from special services to pay, and they don't want that. Or, hey, they need a nurse. So then I get told, well, if there's a nurse on the bus, we don't need a monitor. You have that nurse. No, that nurse was hired for
That
that
nurse
one
does
kid.
nothing else.
She sits
Right.
there and
Right.
gets that one kid.
Well, and she shouldn't do anything else.
So-
She's there as a one-on-one.
Mhm.
A one-on-one
So-
doesn't mean you monitor. I laughed when you said 9 or 10 kids. I've had as many as 22 curb to curb on a bus. In my prior district, I bought Class A buses.
Yeah, it was so nice, Eric. It was so helpful. It was so great for routing all those kids.
Well, I'm telling you, I bought Class A buses simply so they couldn't put 17 to 20 kids
Fill
on
them
the bus.
up, yeah.
I get pushback and just beat up if I have more than 10 to 12 kids special needs on students on IEP on one vehicle.
Well, I get beat up, Tommy. It just, I don't have a choice. I got X
Resources,
number.
yeah.
Right now, we don't either. Hour 15 minutes is what I'm running routes right now for it. So
Yes, sir. Absolutely. That's common. And then nobody agrees.
Nope.
Nobody agrees. It's just what you have to do.
Yep.
So an interesting topic, I guess.
Well,
I'd like to
I
talk
think that would
about
be a whole hour.
evacuations if we've heard from DPS. If I keep getting, I got no, you don't need to do them. Then I got, well, you
Right.
should do them by the end of the year.
I mean,
So I'm
if you
doing a different
can.
program around that, and I hope it complies. But I hope I can get IT to do it. But we're going to change the way we do that. I think bus evacs, whereas I'm being told now, you probably should have to do them. Where before I got, no, you don't have to do them this year.
The
Who's
problem is
telling you that,
no leadership whatsoever
Right.
from the government, state level, whoever governs us. And that's why I think it's important for us to get in front of whoever it is, right?
Someone.
Shed some light on some of the BS that we have to deal with on a regular basis, right? You've got DPS student side, who now no longer falls under the DPS trooper side. So the troopers are going to inspect our buses. The DPS student side is going to keep our regulations, yet neither of them talk to each other. Neither of them have any interest in updating our minimum standards or helping us with that and really push that. And any other state or a bunch of other states all fall under ADE. So why do we have this and we're just continually pushed aside, and we don't have any capabilities to make any changes?
I think this is their way of trying to get student transportation out from under DPS altogether, but that's my own personal opinion. Don't mean
So
anything.
maybe it should, and maybe we just need to make that,
I agree.
make that lift or that push in order to make it happen. But I just think that this is where this organization or TAA or a culmination of TAA, APT, and ASBO all come together and start really using, like,
Advocating.
stretching your wings. Like, this is what we're here for, not to just sit here and talk in a meeting. Like, let's make some serious changes and do something about it.
Yeah, we sustain the day-to-day, and we have a lot of limitations where we can't go beyond that because of all these other agencies, yet they're not involved. So I would agree, it's time to rally.
Get registered for TAA, by the way.
Oh, right. We're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Hey, Tommy, quick question. So if it's okay with your parents, you don't have to have an aide on your sped bus? Because I'm
Unless
short an
it's
aide
written-
today, so that's why I'm asking.
Unless it's written in the IEP that they have to have a one-on-one monitor. No, we don't have to run monitors on any of our buses. And that's been a lot of fights where drivers go, no, it's required by law. I have to. No, you don't.
Well,
Okay.
and a lot of
If
them
it's
want
not
it because they get lazy, right?
Correct.
Right.
If it's not written in their IEP that they have to have a monitor, one-on-one or a monitor on the bus, we don't have to provide it. And I've got routes that run with 8 or 9 that they're very good kids. The driver's got some great control and great relationships. They're running without a monitor right now. I would love to have one on there, but I don't. So we know who our parents are that we have to call and say, hey, we're not gonna have a monitor today because we know it's gonna be an issue if we show up without letting them know. They will come get them, or they go, oh, well, thank you for letting me know. Now it's not a big deal, but when they don't see one and we don't tell them, it's a huge issue. So
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
yeah.
All right, we'll take one more comment and then we'll close it up for today.
I have a comment.
All right.
I had a training class today, and one of my drivers showed us a movie called Can't Do 55.
The
Out of-
YouTube video out of Kyrene.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, those
Were you guys
drivers were.
involved in that? That was pretty cute.
Yeah, those drivers were pretty funny. Unfortunately no longer. Well, one works still with the district. He's like a building manager or site person over at one of our schools, and the other one has moved on to work for another district. But Tony did some pretty good videos in there. There's some other good stuff if you follow his school bus follies. Pretty funny.
Pretty funny.
Armando, I'll take a quick question. You had one question. Is it quick?
No, I'm never quick, so.
All right, you want to email?
But I can always say on Friday, April 2nd, how many people have to send buses to ACES or Foundation for the Blind?
Yikes, I don't know.
Yeah, we probably will.
We just had that discussion, and fortunately I got everything taken care of that we can stay closed. But that's been going on for a couple of days where our sped department's been telling us we have to come to work, but yet they don't have to come to work. So
Happens all the time.
yeah, I know it does.
Are you asking because April 2nd is Good Friday?
Yes.
That doesn't mean anything in our district. We'll still have to push them. We don't even.
I was
get
like,
Friday
I
off.
was trying to figure out what April 2nd was.
We
Yeah.
don't. We
Well,
don't.
being-
get Friday
We're
off.
closed too.
Being the nice Catholic district that we are, we're
Spring
closed.
holiday.
It's a regular school day for us. So for all of
Yeah.
our.
Yes, too.
Yep.
Well, Eric, if you listen to one of the local radio stations, I'll be Easter keg hunting on Friday.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sounds like an activity for TAA.
Yeah.
I like
Anyways,
it.
feel
Like
free to email me if you guys have anything that comes up. We're kind of, I don't want to say exhausting COVID, but hopefully putting this in the rear view. And I'd really like to keep this group kind of going month to month. I think there's a lot of stuff that we can talk about and help each other out. So if you got stuff to add or questions that you want to have discussed through the sessions, we can certainly keep it going.
For sure.
If we want to meet in April, either April 23rd or April 30th, if you want to check your calendars.
I was thinking April 2nd.
I won't be here.
We're not here that day.
Tommy can run the meeting if you
That was a
want.
joke. That was a joke. I was kidding.
Hey, Jason, I got a question.
Go ahead, Davis.
All the team members out there in the valley, how does your thermometer, or you guys have thermometer on your bus, or are you guys doing thermometer temperature check getting?
I don't
No, we did not.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody here is doing that. I mean, maybe
No.
Phoenix L or Cartwright, since they seem to be the most limited on what they're having on the bus, but we have not been doing any temperature checks for students as they've been getting on or off. I think Alhambra was talking about it, but I don't know if they ever got off the ground with it or not. It says, looks like Karma says
That's
their school
cool.
district, Dysart is doing temp checks when the kids get off. They do them at the school, not on the bus.
We do them at the
Okay.
stop.
Oh, okay. So Sarah, you are doing them at the stop? So the
Yes.
driver's responsible for that?
Prior to boarding, their temperatures are checked. It's recorded. And that's part of the mitigation for contact tracing.
Recorded too, huh? Wow.
So if the temperature's high, do you still put them on the bus or do you send them home?
No, they call into dispatch and we try to get a hold of the parents. If we're unable to get a hold of the parents, they sit directly behind the driver. As soon as we arrive at the school, they go into the COVID room and wait for parent pickup.
I think Matt Shields is in here. Matt says Alhambra is not doing temperature checks. So
So apparently Sarah is our COVID captain for buses because she's doing
Right.
all of it. And we're not required to do
Doing it
that.
all.
We
We're
have
gonna call her
little,
captain from now on.
We have
Hey,
little
Sarah.
symptom checker magnets that are outside the door, and
Which we did have that too, yeah.
they have to give you a thumbs up that they don't have any of the symptoms that are pictured, and then they get their temperature taken.
Sarah's our COVID
Sarah, I
captain from
gotta
now
ask
on.
one thing though. One thing. We covered it earlier. You were talking about you alternate seats and you're only doing one because of this, that, the other thing, right? I mean, and fair enough. I think you're wonderful. I think that if you can manage that, you're stronger than I. But here's my problem. Put that kid in the back seat, not the seat behind the driver. If you don't consider the seat a barrier, how's that go behind the driver?
Put 'em in the
I
exit
told my
row.
district, there is no way I'm leaving a front seat open. So if they find the sickest kids throwing up when you pull up to the bus stop, yeah, stick him behind the driver. No way in heck. When he's going to be sequestered when we get to the campus in the special COVID room, which we have, I'm not putting him behind the driver. No.
Put him in
Right.
the exit row with the door. Face out that way.
We bring them all in. Yeah.
I'm kind of kidding, but I said there's no way I'm leaving an open seat behind the driver for the sickest kid. That isn't an answer we're going to do.
Exactly.
Our district admin wanted us to bring the student in the rear door and have them sit in the rear seat.
Oh my gosh.
And
Got a
Yeah.
set of steps.
Bring your step ladder.
yeah, that the driver should be able to pick the kid up and put him in the back seat and, you
They're
know.
bigger than me sometimes.
Yeah, so we just pick them all up. If the kid's sick, the kid's sick. They check them when they get to school. My driver's not professional, medical professionals or whatever. So we don't do any of that stuff. And if, you know, fortunately, we've been okay up until yesterday. So
Just put him in the carrier underneath the bus.
So at TAA, I am nominating Captain Sarah for the TAA award this year for knowing all things COVID that she had to do that we did not.
Got it. Duly noted.
Thank you very much, President, past president, and that, yes.
It's
All right.
brutal.
So
It's brutal.
April 23rd or April 30th, either one work for.
Either.
Either.
All right.
Yeah, as long as it's 10 o'clock,
We'll
because I'll
go.
be coming straight from another meeting.
It's 10. So we had been doing 10:30. Does 10:30 work better for everybody, or does it matter?
I'm just
Doesn't
saying 10 or
matter.
10:30.
10 works
Either
fine, yeah,
one.
10,
All right. We'll do 10. So until then, we'll see everybody. Stay safe.
Hi, guys.
Enjoy.
care.
Some of you
Happy
who have
Easter.
Good Friday and the others will think about you.
Hey,
Happy Easter,
everyone stay
everyone.
safe.
Yeah, happy
Keep the
Easter.
pace.
See you guys later.